Hello awesome humans, and welcome back to the channel. We are in full spring mode here on the homestead, and I thought I would take you along with me while we get some much needed chores done on the homestead. Sun was right in my eyes, so I thought I'd come around the corner here, make it a little easier on myself. We are having a very strange about week and a half here in Ontario, the high temperature today. So just to put reference to it, we are mid-April. I think it's April 15th today, might be 16th. And we're supposed to get a high of 28, 29 degrees Celsius today, which is not normal for Southern Ontario. It's really, really warm. So we went into Lindsay, which is the closest city to us, did some grocery shopping, picked up some soil, and everybody's out because I think this is giving people this sort of false sense of spring, summer weather's here. I fully expect to get snow at least one more time before we can get most of our crops into the ground. But that being said, there are some things we're going to be working on. And one of the main things we're going to be doing today is topping up the soil in our greenhouse, which you can see just over my shoulder here. And we're going to be planting our pak choys, bok choys, kohlrabi, and those types of crops in there. So my hope is that we're going to get a nice full round of those before we're ready to plant our peppers in there, which will probably be end of May, maybe first week of June. We grow all of our sweet peppers in the greenhouse here because our summers are unpredictable and we often don't get enough heat in order for them to ripen outside. So if we want red peppers, orange peppers, yellow peppers, that kind of thing, the greenhouse has been the best bet. So my hope is that we'll actually get a round of food out of the greenhouse before we plant the peppers. So we went into town and we picked up some soil. So I'll show you what we're going to be working on. So we have a small greenhouse. It's an 8x8 polycarbonate, just your basic little greenhouse that I can't remember where we got it from. I think it was Canada Greenhouses, might have been the company. And it's served us well. And even though we have really high winds here, we haven't had any issues, knock wood. And so the plan for today, of course, is to get this all cleaned out. And one of the things that I really want to be able to kind of create a multifunctional space in here. So we had these plans and it never really came to fruition. But what I want to do is attach like table legs essentially to the ends of each of these garden boxes so that we can lay sort of like a piece of plywood on top. So we would have a table, but the garden boxes would be underneath. So that would allow us to have some crops underneath in early spring while still being able to bring our seedlings out to harden off on the days where it's nice and warm. And then when we're fully in growing season, we just remove the plywood top and you still have the garden boxes underneath. So this was kind of the plan I had. Let me know in the comments if you think I'm totally crazy. But one of the things we want to do today, as you can see, all the stuff from last year is still in there. We want to clean that out. We went into town and got some good quality organic vegetable and herb mix. So we're going to top up the beds. But our well water here is really salty. And so we can't use it to water our gardens. And I don't want to use the precious spring water that my husband has to drive all the way to the spring to get for our drinking water. So we're also going to set up a rain barrel today. And here are the plant babies. I just brought them outside. And this is what I'm hoping to get in the greenhouse today once we get it all cleaned up. It's already stinking hot, so we're going to have to be careful, make sure we drink lots of water. But here we've got multiple varieties of kohlrabi. We've got bok choy and pak choy in here. So my hope is that we'll get a full round of vegetables out of the greenhouse before we're ready to plant peppers in there. So we've cleaned out the greenhouse and hubby's adding in some new soil. It's got a bit of moisture to it, which is a good thing because until it rains, which I don't know when that's going to happen, we don't have any water. And we just set up 2 rain barrels up front because we always run out of water here. And we're trying to kind of put like rocks and stuff around it, make it look nicer, but we ran out and we just have broken patio stones. So I don't like the look of that, but that's all right. So we set up 2 here and hopefully that'll be enough water for the greenhouse and the perennial beds out front. And we're just going to continue to find more rocks around the property. Interesting note about where we live, this area used to be called hardscrabble for two reasons. One, it was impossible to find good water here, hence the salt water. And two, we have lots and lots of rocks. And every single one of these large rocks has actually come off our property. And I'll walk you over to the main vegetable garden, because that giant rock in the middle there also came off of our property. So all of these stones, the larger ones that you see, all came from here. So this one's huge. It's probably about 2 feet tall. And so we'll keep looking around the property to see if we can find more rocks and finish off that rain barrel area. So our next set of chores for the day is to muck out the chicken coops. That's the hen's coop, which we'll probably do second. The first one we're gonna tackle is this one here, which is the building we use when we raise chickens for meat. And we're getting our next round of meat birds at the end of the month. So this has got to be cleaned out. It's actually not too terrible in here. I'm pretty impressed. But it's kind of funny because look at my hops have actually grown in to these buildings. They're in rough shape. They were originally, the original owners had pigeons in these buildings, so we sort of made do with what we had. They were clearly 10 or 15 years old when we got them. And so we cleaned them the best we could and gutted them because he had all these kind of crazy shelves everywhere. But yeah, as you can see, it definitely needs to be cleaned out. So that is what we're going to be tackling next. Look at the hops. It's hilarious. I'm exhausted. Very dusty, sweaty. You know, that's all the signs of a good day's work. But one of the things we did is we took a bunch of the shavings from the chicken coop and just laid it down here because I'm actually standing on the spot where we're going to have some new garden beds. And so we always like to, we do kind of like a modified hugelkultur. So we'll lay down the chicken manure at the bottom, and then we'll lay down big branches and logs and leaves and all of those things, so that way we're not filling these beds all the way with soil, because all that stuff's going to break down and add nutrients to it. So there you are, there's some of it, and the rest from the yellow building actually went out into the run because it had so much chicken feed in it. We're like, girls, dig your way through it, and we can always rake it around and mix it in with the soil that's back there. So we got our chores done. The last thing for me to do is get the laundry down off the line, and I think I'm done for the weekend. The cat has finally decided to leave his garage refuge, which is where he basically spent all winter. He refused to go outside. Yes, and now we force you to come outside, don't we? Yes. Right, Malfoy? You gonna help with laundry? Not at all. He's getting old. He's got gray. He's got gray fur. So we're just getting the laundry down. One of the benefits of having a beautiful spring day like this. We actually got most of the garden cleanup done as well, so just some repair work on the trellises, and then all of the beds need some soil topped up. So that seems to be most of what we have to do out here, which is not bad. Thank you for joining me on my spring chores around the homestead video. What's happening on your homesteads? Let me know in the comments. What are you working on right now in this time of year? If you've got any questions or comments, or you just want to say hello, let me know where you're from, drop it in the comments, and I'll see all of you in the next video.